I'm Forrest Dixon. Welcome to the fifth in a series of 7 Life in the Forest presentations. The purpose of these presentations is to help you to become more informed about the organization of and the services offered at the Forest at Duke. Our presenters today are Nathan Summers, Director of General Services, and Matt Martin from the Information Technology Group. Each of these gentlemen have impressive backgrounds and experience in their respective positions. And I'm going to step aside and let them introduce themselves. Nathan, would you please go first with your intro, and Matt will follow. Thank you.
We'll switch spots.
Yeah.
Good morning, Nathan Summers. My actual title here is Director of Community Services. I have been the Director of General Services, and General Services is what we will talk about. I have the other hat of Director of Dining Services. So if you marry dining services and general services, you end up with community services. So that's how I have my title. For purposes today, my bio, and I'm not one who likes to talk about himself. In fact, I don't like to talk in public at all, if you've ever heard me speak before. But I will try to I have an extensive food and beverage background. And from that food and beverage background, I developed management, leadership skills in leading other teams outside of the culinary or hospitality departments in the 25 years that I have worked in with seniors. I began my career at Pinehurst Country Club, golf resort. Any of you that are golfers may recognize Pinehurst as a golf mecca. So I was exposed to my first project development team and maintenance back when we were preparing the property for the 99 US Men's Open in Pinehurst. It was the first time they had hosted a major championship of golf in about 55 years. So they had a lot of infrastructure work to do. So I was lucky to get to be on those project management teams. So I learned a lot about construction and implementation. And of course, I was holding the cleanup bag after everyone left. And that has been basically the story of my career since about 1984. I came to the Forest at Duke 9 years ago as the Director of General Services. General Services is maintenance, housekeeping, security and transportation, and landscaping. All of those are done in-house except for landscaping. We have a wonderful subcontractor, Directional Landscape. Let's see, anything else? I worked at St. Joseph of the Pines before I came to the Forest at Duke. It had 2 CCRC communities at St. Joseph's, the larger one, Belle Meade. This is in Southern Pines, North Carolina. The largest one was Belle Meade, similar in size to the Forest at Duke, except it sat on 100 acres instead of almost 50 that we have here. And then a smaller one called Pine Knoll, that was 1.5 miles away, which was the foundation of St. Joseph of the Pines. It was created by nuns of the Baptist faith, and they had started a retirement home at what was originally a hotel for the Pine Needles Golf Course, which is right there at that building. So over time, it was transformed into a hospital during World War II. And when I inherited it, it was going through a renovation to transform the 5-story hospital room building into 22 senior living apartments. And then the original pro shop of the golf course, which was about 70 years old, was made into 2 cottages for senior living. So that was a lot of learning on my part as far as construction. And then I was promoted to Director of Independent Living for both communities. So I was knee deep in all of the things that we enjoy here at the Forest at Duke. And I say all that not to make sure that my job here is not unique. Sometimes it's looked at as I have a lot on my plate and, you know, they just keep giving you more hats to wear. My job is not unique. It happens in a lot of CCRCs. The fact that, I look like I do it all alone is shame on me. I have a wonderful team and I'll mention those, when I get started. Forrest, do you want me to go directly into my presentation or Matt? Go ahead.
Yeah.
So that's enough about me. If you want to know more about my life, feel free to, I'll be glad to sit down and have a cup of coffee. So, general services, we have a lot of people, as I mentioned, a big team. In iterations of this program in the past, I have had them all come down. Today was a particularly busy day for everyone, and there were some vacations, and somebody was actually out sick, so I let everyone off the hook. So you won't get to see their lovely faces in person, but I will make a point to have them come visit, especially the new residents who have moved here. Who's been here less than 6 months? You raise your hand. Nice. Who's been here over a year? All right, not even Stephen. All right. So there is an administrative assistant. She is not my administrative assistant, although she helps me out a lot. She's actually the administrative assistant for the entire general services department. She is your primary contact when you call in a work order or send an email to work@Forest Duke. She mans that responsibility and helps get all those work orders in the system so that we can track them and then hopefully get them done in a prompt and efficient manner. Housekeeping, we have two. Ruth Wilkins is primarily independent living residences. Tom Bivens is the environmental manager. His office is at the health center, and his primary responsibility is the health center and the outside trash. So they kind of tag team on making sure everything gets done. Maintenance is actually Ruth Wilkins' husband, Brian. He is our maintenance manager. Between Brian and Ruth, they have been here at the Forest at Duke 40+ years. Brian is an excellent HVAC tech and does a lot of hands-on work. Moving on to security and transportation, that's a hybrid department. It is called security and transportation. And the security and transportation manager is Charles Hutchins. You can't miss him. He's a very large man and is always moving about. Looks very official. He has a deep background in security, and I had to tone him down a little bit. He's from an armed security background, so you know the fact that he can't carry a gun here was disappointing at one time. But he's gotten over that. And then we have Alicia Harris, who is our transportation supervisor. So between them, they handle our security and our transportation. And landscaping falls on me, and I work with the landscaping company, Directional Landscape, to do all that. Housekeeping. They maintain all the residences on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, depending on what a resident's choice is. They do what I refer to as light housekeeping. There are a lot of parallels between housekeeping and some other things as there are to dining. Housekeeping is very personal, and people always have a different idea about what they think housekeeping is. So we do have a task list. It is not in concrete. We try to give some latitude to residents to kind of fine tune that. Two big obstacles are the chemicals that we use. We can't use your chemicals unless I know what they are and I can vet them and make sure that they're safe and that I have what's called as an SDS. In case someone should have a bad reaction to something that they have used in your apartment, I have to be able to tell the Department of Labor, yes, they went in there and this was a chemical that they could have been exposed to. So it's like many things, it's part of a bigger process when you want to change the system. But we do try to let residents change the system in ways that make sense for them and for us to provide the service. So if there's a particular thing that you're finicky about in your housekeeping, please let Ruth and myself know, and we will do everything that we can. And if we have to say no, we will tell you why. And then we'll keep working to see if we can get to a yes. are some common ground. Annual apartment and cottage deep cleans have never recovered from the pandemic. I have not been able to keep enough staff to do annual cleaning on a consistent basis. Right now, we're doing some what we call deep cleans at the 7-year refurbishment. If you've been here 7 years, you have an opportunity to get new carpet and maybe some new flooring. We take a look at your appliances and touch up your paint. So that's a good time for us to do some really deep cleaning. But should you want your carpets cleaned or the windows washed more often than we can get to it on our schedule, just let us know and we will schedule that for you. If you're a habitual wine spiller on your white carpet, there will be a charge if we have to keep coming back and cleaning up. Okay. Maintenance. They do everything that you see. They lay their hands on it. They're responsible in-house for HVAC, electrical stuff, plumbing, the generators is manned them. What they can't do in-house, which would be elevators and some HVAC, we call in contractors. They do preventative maintenance on a lot of our systems to the best of their ability. I think I calculated that there were close to 750 toilets on this property. So you can think about how many plug toilet calls we get. And security actually helps us out, especially after hours with those things. They do work with security on the fire, the secure access when you have to use your fob to get in the main gate or some of the doors. And then they do the filter changes, light bulbs, stop toilets, sink drains, hanging pictures, moving furniture, and so on and so forth. So that's a big department, and we'll be adding some more with the terraces coming on. Security, it is in-house. When I came here, it was contracted, and we brought it in-house. It provides security presence around the community, both on foot patrol, checking certain stations. We use a piece of software called TrackTick that monitors where our security officers have been, what they've looked at. If there's an incident, he gives them an opportunity to provide information in real time to Charles and myself about any vehicular accidents or reports of theft or anything like that. We have that captured in TrackTick, and that can automatically send out notifications. And it also tracks statistically what all's going on here. So that if we ever want to look at the data on, is a particular door always damaged or left unlocked, or we have to go to a certain residence over and over because of something, then we can, see if there's a trends or anything like that. They respond to the emergency pendants, which I'll talk about in a little bit. We have cottage alarm systems that are monitored by security, and they make sure that all of our fire, smoke, and sprinkler alarm systems are managed appropriately. They do a monthly check on our public area fire extinguishers, and then regulatory wise, we have to have those checked again annually by a third party. So Charles helps me oversee all the regulatory requirements when it comes to a generator and our fire and sprinkler systems. And currently we have RCare is our resident response system. We are on the cusp of rolling out a new one in the next probably 4 weeks. From an end user standpoint, your pendant it'll look slightly different, but it will operate exactly the same. What the system does is gives us the ability to do more things in the future, and it's actually more accurate as far as your location. So we're looking forward to bringing that online. The residents won't see any difference. If you push your pendant or you pull that cord over there, a security officer and a response nurse will show up to your location to help you. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Transportation. We provide transport for medical appointments. I believe we allow residents free once a week. If it's excessive, then there'll be a charge. Concierge transportation to RDU or DPAC or any of those places. It's like a taxi. We'll take you and there'll be a charge on your monthly service fee. It is far cheaper than any other transportation you could hire. We partner with Emma and Sarah's group in Community Life to provide bus transport and drivers for all the activities that happen off property. And also the shuttle service that we enjoy around campus. The shuttle service will continue after the terraces is open. Although you will be able to go from where we are all the way through the terraces and to the health center inside the building. There is always a need to have a shuttle if someone wants to leave the wing and come to the community center and doesn't want to walk. Maybe a little bit too far, depending on what's going on in someone's life, they may prefer the shuttle. And convenient parking for the staff that work here will never be all across the campus. You know, we will have, someone will have to park on the retaining wall and be shuttled to their workspace. Although parking will improve dramatically once the terrace is open. And then there's a phone number for the shuttle service. Hopefully, especially new residents who were given a comprehensive list of who to call for what. If not, you can reach out to Emily and she can provide that for you. Landscaping or mow and blow services. What that means is they are not gardeners. Okay. They don't get on their hands and knees and pick weeds out. They're not here 7 days a week, twice on Sundays, and so on and so forth. They do more than a traditional mow and blow, but that's on a rare occasion. And I sometimes take some grief about, well, we pay so much attention to the front of the community center. What about behind my apartment or cottage? Quite frankly, that's by necessity. Keeping a front-facing appearance of our community is a priority for our marketing department. So we do put resources at the front where we face guests and visitors and prospective residents. And then we try to keep up with everything else. There are almost 50 acres here. Just about all of it has something growing or living or in it. We have 2 protected wetlands, really wetland on this end, and then the stormwater prevention pond on the other end of the campus that are, we have to work with the city of Durham because they have a lot to say about those. Those are regulated environments. They do have some private services available. Just contact me if you want to plant a plant or do anything outside. He's pretty reasonable in his charges. And that being said, no resident should ever plant or pull or prune or cut anything outside without prior permission. Most of the time that is not because I have to put my approval on it because it makes me feel like I'm in control. I am not that kind of person. What it does is give me an opportunity to make sure we're making a good decision for you and the property. We have a tendency to put things right next to the foundation or where it's going to affect us mowing and blowing. And the more obstacles we put up, the higher the cost of labor to keep the place clean and mown. I hope that makes sense. We have exceptions across the campus where things look to be I was a little bit lenient. We do take each case case by case, and in some circumstances, people doing excessive gardening around their cottage is because of some mental issues that they have, and that's good therapy. So I'm not going to say no just because we would rather not you fill the entire property up with botanicals. If we should do certain things, I will tell you up front, you can do this and you also have to pay if it's not marketable afterwards. If you have to put it out and put it back to a standard, you may have to pay at that time also to have it put back on your way out to either transition to the health center or God forbid you pass away. Those are just some things that I need to tell you so it's not a surprise. And if you ever have questions about, again, the easiest thing to do is just contact me. Most times I can answer things over the phone or by email. On rare occasions, I will actually come out and look at something, or I'll send Greg, who works with directional landscape. Don't hang things off of the stucco at your patio. you can help it. If you've already done so, I'm not gonna cry about it or make you pull them down. But what it does is it creates a hole in the ephes material, stucco, and that is very hard to repair. And it also, when you pull that down or it gets blown down, it creates access for pests and more stuff to get into the building. Water is the worst pest that we have. We may think it's mice or bugs, but it's actually water. Water is our biggest enemy on this property and in most properties. The opposite of water is fire. So I'm going to review real quick what to do in case of a fire. All of our buildings, apartments are covered with water sprinklers and smoke heads or smoke detectors. The cottages have smoke heads and carbon monoxide detectors that are not linked to the monitoring station. The building is. And how it works is if you burn toast in your apartment, it will set off the fire alarm in your apartment. It will not call the fire department yet. The fire department will be called if that smoke from your burnt toast gets into the hallway and activates a smoke detector there. That sets off the entire system of alerting the fire department. Security already knows because they get the alert from your apartment smoke detector. Yes.
Nathan, can I ask a stupid question? Do we still need in our apartments to have a smoke alarm, the type you get at the hardware store on the ceiling, or is whatever is built into the apartment okay without?
The question was, do we need auxiliary smoke detectors in our apartment like you get at the hardware store? Or is the ones that are hooked to our system sufficient?
Yeah,
The ones that are hooked to our system are sufficient. However, if you still feel the need of having more, if you have hearing issues and you want to put one in your bedroom, one next to your bed, so that you have a little more protection, that's fine. I certainly wouldn't prohibit that, but understand that you're on your own with repair and maintenance. You can call us and we'll charge you to change the batteries out or relocate it or anything like that. But our internal ones that are hooked to the system will cover the entire apartment. If you smell smoke in your apartment and the alarms have not gone off, hit your emergency pendant. There are fire alarm stations at every exit that's found on the wall that you pull down as you leave. If you burn toast or do something in your apartment, try not to open the hallway door. Security is alerted. They'll come and help assess the situation and help you clean up if that's what you need. Your best bet is to open the patio door and turn on your bathroom fans and put the burnt toast in the sink and put water on it. Get rid of the smoke. You have a fire extinguisher. It's usually under the sink unless you've moved it or requested to have it moved. We are looking at providing fire blankets in the future. But I just have to make sure that we can get them all deployed at the same time. And the fire blanket, instead of using a fire extinguisher, you take a little blanket, throw it over the fire. Pros and cons for both, but in the big scheme of things, we think that the blanket will be more conducive and safe for a resident to use than pulling out the fire extinguisher, which even on the best day, the smallest fire extinguisher will weigh 3 to 5 pounds. And you have to fumble with all the stuff on it to get it to work. So if you are not in immediate danger, such as fire or heavy smoke, remain in your apartment. What you don't want to do is feel heat or see smoke coming underneath your apartment door from outside and then open up the door and walk into it. Smoke will overcome you far quicker than the fire will, if there is even an actual fire. Many fires produce more smoke than they do flames. Mechanical issues, electrical issues, and of course, if there's open flames, the sprinkler system will fire up. So you are safe in your apartment during a normal event. If the fire alarms and things are going off and you feel safer in your apartment, please stay there. If you don't, fill the door, make sure it's not hot or there's not smoke. Carefully open up the door. If you see any smoke, shut the door immediately. Again, calling and pushing your, calling security and pushing your emergency pin is the quickest way. The alarms are going off, 99% of the time it's a false alarm or we're testing them. We do try to inform you when we are testing so we don't scare you. If you decide to evacuate, you can obviously use the stairwells, don't use the elevators. If you don't feel safe navigating down the stairwell, stay in the stairwell on the landing. Like if you're on the 3rd floor, go into the stairwell and stay there. The fire department will be along to help escort folks down the stairs or safely into an elevator if that's how they choose to evacuate. They can also access the apartments from your patio balcony with ladders and those kind of things. So we can get you out of the apartment if you don't feel safe, long story short. If you do see smoke coming under your door and you have the wherewithal to do it, put something under the door to keep the smoke out. Go out to the patio if it's getting really bad and shut the patio door behind you. Again, having access to your emergency pendant is paramount in these situations because that, again, lets us know exactly where you are and who you are. And if you have any special needs and you need to have an evacuation, we do keep a list it's not public knowledge, nor is it in everyone's hands. I have access to it, as does the security manager, so that we can give that to the fire department so they can highlight where people are that may have special needs with mobility issues or things like that, so we can concentrate on getting them out first. There's a fire extinguisher. That's what a fire alarm looks like, and the evacuation routes are posted in the hallways of the apartment buildings. If you live in a cottage, a little bit different. Your fire alarm is not connected to our monitoring system. It's connected to our security officer, and it is also connected to our emergency response system. It's linked to that. So when a fire alarm goes off in a cottage, it alerts security and they call 911. If you live in a cottage or an apartment and you feel the need to call 911, please do so. If you, again, have the wherewithal to say, I called 911 when we show up, that's helpful so that we can facilitate getting 911 here. Durham they will send for every emergency a full-on fire truck and paramedics. I don't know why they send a fire truck for a medical emergency, but they do. And we have to facilitate and give them getting safely around the community and where they need to be. And they love to honk their horn, which opens up the gate automatically, and ignore my staff as they drive onto the campus thinking they know where. It happens all the time, and I've not made a whole lot of progress in 9 years working with that group. They have a lot of turnover there too. So as soon as we get one group trained, new guy shows up. Use the fire extinguisher if you feel comfortable. If not, get out of the apartment, activating your emergency pendant on your way if you can. Alert your neighbor if at all possible. Our cottages are duplexes. So you have 2 residences under one roof. So be a good neighbor. And if you've set fire to yours or had a fire start in your cottage, alert your neighbor on your way out that, hey, you may want to hit your emergency pendant and help and get out. You can always call 911. We have a security number that should be in some of your, maybe it should be in the new handbooks also. This is very old. I didn't make this up. It's the acronym is PASS for using a fire extinguisher. You pull the pin, aim it at the base of the fire, sweep, or you got to squeeze the handle, and then sweep at the base of the flame. I've not had the courage since early in my career to do this with residents in a live thing. Not only that, the fire department's finally caught on that setting diesel fuel on fire and letting people put it out with a fire extinguisher was not conducive to their safety either. So we stopped doing that. We have what's called a TEN system, which is a telephone emergency notification system. It will call you. It's a mass calling system. It's a piece of software that I can access from my phone or a home computer, as can Emily and some of the other leadership and folks in the IT. So if we had an emergency, we could let everyone know as rapidly as possible, and it can send text messages. Your responsibility is to make sure that Emily has the phone number you prefer to be contacted on. And if you don't know which phone, make sure she has them all. There's no limit to the amount of phones that you can have that we can have the system call you. In the future, I'm looking at upgrading that software so it'll also send emails in addition to text messages and phone voicemail. As I mentioned, you have an emergency pendant that's linked to our response system. I see a number of you loading them, so that's excellent. The stats say that about only 25% of a CCRC population wears their pendant on a consistent basis. It does you no good in your sock drawer. Okay. And so, it is not a sign of anything other than you want to be protected. And it's not just for falling down. I have mentioned that use it if you smell smoke, get your pendant. If you're a late night person or you're a nocturnal person and you look out the window and you see something you don't like, but whether it be an animal or a person and you're not sure what's going on, get your emergency pendant. That brings people to your location to see what's going on. Okay. What I do ask is that you don't push it to complain about dinner. Got a whole nother system for that. Okay. Or to tell me you need a light bulb changed. But if you're not feeling well, don't wait until you have a full-on event to then push your pendant. If you feel dizzy, lightheaded, you just don't feel right, push that pendant, a response nurse, and we can get the ball rolling on making sure that you're helped as soon as possible. You can't stress it enough. So there are some emergency numbers. Security has its own line. That's a cell phone. It's monitored 24/7, 7 days a week. Reception is the front desk, where we see Sue a lot now while Lee is out on FMLA. So that's their phone number. And again, you can always bring people to your location if you push your emergency pendant. We have a resident committee. It's called the General Services Committee, our Grounds, Buildings, and Safety, which is a big thing. And it is chaired by Dave Sloan, who is sitting in the back of the room. We meet once a month, I believe, on the second Monday of every month, except when we need to take maybe a summer or winter hiatus for vacation. But if Dave runs that meeting, I get to attend as a special guest. But it's always well attended. Any questions? That is our security and transportation manager helping someone back to the health center.
As far as a pendant, if you're just walking outside of the grounds of the forest, is it effective there too?
Yeah,
Or is it just on the ground?
the question was, is your pendant, does it work outside? Yes, it does. And I'm glad you said that. It works anywhere in the 47+ acres that we have. If you step out on Pickett Road, it gets a little more dicey. We have picked up signals from our current system on Pickett Road.
Yeah.
But if you're at the greenhouse or on Forest at Duke Drive, it will triangulate, in fact, a lot better than our current system. And it will tell us that you're between cottage 66 and 70 on the Forest at Duke Drive. If you're in the health center and have something, it will say you're in the health center on the second floor near the elevators. Yes, ma'am.
Recently, I've had occasion where security will come and I have not pressed my pendant. I have not hit it with a towel or anything. I appreciate the fact, and I have no idea where they're getting this need to come and see, is everything all right? Everything is fine. But it's been a considerable time. So I wonder if they're receiving it from somebody else.
You're not alone. We have false alarms. The system you see on the wall, that's actually our new system that is active right now. We're just getting to the pendant part. We started receiving more false alarms that we couldn't figure out why. And again, the current system is 10 years old. Software doesn't last forever. So we think there will develop bugs in the system. But again, a false alarm is not the end of the story.
No, I
You know,
appreciate the fact that
it's nice, but it is kind of disconcerting if we wake you up at 3 a.m. to see if you're okay, and you don't know what's going on. You can press your pendant and not realize it. This new pull cord that you'll have that are in your bathrooms and in our public rooms, if it's activated, it will flash and make a tiny beep. So you know it's been activated, and then you can actually reset it. Security may still come and check on you, even if you reset it, unless you're a frequent flyer who does it, all the time. And then we'll probably still call you. We know you're up because you just reset it. So we'll say, "Are you really okay, Nathan?" And we're fine. And then the newer versions of the wearable pendants are not as sensitive. And there's a tactile response when you activate it, so that you kind of know. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, mine has gone off I feel really bad. It's gone off quite a few times and maybe I was a little violent with it or something, I thought you really had to squeeze it, but I think if you knock it so I was wondering if they're gonna get pendants that are a little less sensitive.
They'll be more sensitive, but less likely to be activated, if that makes any sense. It's just, again, false alarms are okay. They test our system. But you don't want a bunch of them because then people get aggravated and do what? Not wear their pendant. So we don't want that to happen either. Yes, ma'am.
It's just a comment going back to housekeeping. I'm so grateful for my weekly housekeeping. Angela who does our place, and she's so good. So I just want to thank you for good service.
You're welcome. We have come a long way in housekeeping over the last 2 years. The pandemic really decimated that department.
Oh, yeah.
And it took us a long time to start getting people to even apply. So we're lucky that we are fully staffed, except for the housemen who get the trash out of the trash rooms. Still need another tech there. But on the whole, again, not a perfect department, none of us are, but they do, for the most part, try. And again, if there's anything that they can do to do better. Ruth Wilkins is charged with doing what we call rounding. So eventually she should come around shortly after you've had housekeeping to see how things are, depending on how hectic her week is. So if you haven't seen Ruth in a while, you can always let her know that you would like to have a rounding, and she can come and look to see what your housekeeper's doing or not doing. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
When you press your pendant and someone comes, it's security and a nurse. Do they bring an external defibrillator? What do they do? I've noticed there's not any external defibrillators around the property.
We do not have external defibrillators on this property, and I am not qualified to speak to exactly why that is. And that would be something that we could bring up to Anita or Karen from our leadership team. There's a lot of discussion, but I won't belabor the point about abilities and training and those kind of things. I see that changing as we continue to grow and we have a more frail. And it doesn't only just protect residents. I'm at a perfect age to have a heart attack here at work. So, but that being said, the response nurse will have a medical bag and do triage. We can do CPR and some first aid. If it's anything more than, if there's blood or something like that, we will call 911 to protect you. Again, there's a lot of talk, the Good Samaritan laws and liability, but if you send someone to an emergency scene, you accept the responsibility for what they do. And again, our security officers are not paramedics. They're security officers. So they will keep you comfortable. They will take you away from a dangerous situation, but more often than not, they're just there to assist the response nurse. And lots of times I get the incident reports both from nursing and from security. And a lot of times they work with the resident and it's going to see their general practitioner the next day if they're having bouts of dizziness, or they call the paramedics. And then we can't force you to leave with 911. You still have the opportunity to say, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not going to the emergency room. And then we contact your primary care person to try to keep an eye on you that way, if you don't go. Yes, ma'am.
Also, another compliment, I had noticed that the staff here always defer. For example, there's a narrowing of the hallway, and even though they're coming the other direction, they stop and let me go through. And I'm thinking you must train them to do this, because the kids who visit, teenagers don't stop, but the staff do, and they're always deferring and welcoming, and the staff here are fabulous.
Thank you. Good. All right, thank you. Hopefully I didn't eat up all your time, Matt. But thank you for being so patient and listening to my speech. I will do the same. I will sit quietly for you.
Before we turn it over to Matt, I'm gonna say Nathan is younger than a lot of us, but he still has poor memory. So if you run him down in the hall and say da, 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 he's gonna forget it before he gets 3 doors down. So if you send him an email,
I do really well with email.
he does,
For the most
he
part.
does a good job with emails.
And if you don't see me pull this out in the hallway and write what you just said down, tell me to. Say, Dave, I know you're hearing me.
It's kind of the same with Anita. Keep from wrong. You're gonna be.
Thank you for your time and your attention, folks.
Thank you.
Okay. Matt, it's all yours, buddy.
Hello. My name is Matthew Martin. I'm the network administrative supervisor here at the Forest. Normally, you would be getting Rashad Wilson, who is the director of technology, but he is away at a leadership training this week, so I'm here instead. I've been here at the Forest for about 11 years. I actually started at doing making cinder blocks, and then I was like, my body is not gonna withstand this for the next 20 years. So I went back to school, got my degree in electronics engineering, and then after I started working here, I got another degree in cybersecurity. It's a great place to work. So I would try to do as well as Rashad would, and if you have any questions at the end, I'll answer those. Okay, so what I'm gonna cover today is the IT staff, the services we provide, and the projects that we're working. The staff. So Scott Brown is our IT support specialist. He's probably the person that most of y'all are gonna meet first, because he's the one that's gonna come out and help you with any issues that you have. Then myself, and I'm more staff-based, but I will help Scott as needed. We all will help as needed. And Rashad is the director of technology. These are the services that we will provide. So Rashad himself is the HIPAA security office for the Forest at Duke. And then that entails, he has to make sure that all the personal data is secure, all the financial and health information is secure, that our emails are encrypted because they might have physical or medical information. PCI compliance, which is when you go to dining and use a card to buy anything. So I don't believe we do that anymore, but we used to. That was compliant with all the regulations and technical license renewals that we have to do for us. So currently in this building, we're doing a hybrid where we'll kind of get everything is half Wi-Fi and plug-in. Basically, dining is all Wi-Fi now for the business. So an employee could go into any dining area and work just like they were at their desk if they have a laptop. And then the terraces, it will be that way, and then the health center is that way. And we're gonna retrograde back this way on this side of the campus after we finish the terrace. So HIPAA policies. I pretty much just gave you all that with what Rashad covers. We're not sending out anything, any of your information. It's all encrypted. It's all backed up on the network. Our disaster recovery plan, the network is backed up every 4 hours, our business network. So if anything was to happen, we can always restore it, I think within 24 hours, which never happened, it never will happen, hopefully. Email use, we actually just went to Office 365, so anybody can use the email from anywhere work-wise. mobile devices, we have remote encryption, so two-factor authentication. If I wanted to access our network from somewhere else, I would have to two-factor from my phone on an application to make it secure. All the staff would do that. Internal documents are stored on the network, which once again, we're gonna back up if lost. These are what we will provide for the residents. We provide wireless networks. Each of you have your own wireless network in your cottage or apartment. And we also provide broad around the network, around the campus, I'm sorry. So if you're in a cottage and you come into this building, there's actually a network set up for you to connect to. So that way you still have Wi-Fi access. It's actually called TFAT cottages. So if you didn't know that, please join that network. If you're in this building, you have your own Wi-Fi password and that will work everywhere in this building. But if you go off into like the cottages all around the campus, it's actually a different network you would join, which would be just standard force Wi-Fi. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm misspeaking. That network will actually work everywhere around the campus, except in the health center and it's in the new terraces. It'll be a new network and we'll provide that for you when those are up and running. If you have any account issues such as accessing your bank or any account that you have, we will come help and restore those accounts for you, but we won't like put a password in for you. You still have to put your own password in, because we don't want to have that information. But we can walk you through the steps, and then when we get to that point, we'll say, hey, you have to log in with your password. Software, we will help you add new software. We won't purchase it for you, but we will install it for you. Or if you're having issues with any software, we will help you troubleshoot that. And we have a monthly tech corner. I think it's the third Thursday of every month in the living room. And you can bring any of your devices and we will help you for free, because all of our services are charged. If it's something that we don't provide, like if it's an issue with the wireless, we don't charge you for that. Or with your TV, we don't charge you for that. But if it's something that is not something that we provide, we do charge. It's $25 to come out, and then I believe $12.50 for every 15 minutes after that. I believe it adds up to $50 an hour. But at the tech corner, you can come, bring your devices, whatever. We will help you for free for that. And the projects. So the projects we're currently working on is the terraces that are opening up, and the technology. This is what IT is responsible for in that project, is the apartment technology that's inside those apartments and the common areas that are over there. They have some nice areas and making sure they got everything they need.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you, if one were to buy a printer,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it's hard, well, I have an Apple, for instance, a laptop, and a lot of printers don't play nicely with a Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recommend any particular printer that is very compatible with, maybe, I could ask you this offline. I'm sorry, I thought it was a general question. I realize it's not a general question, so never mind.
Okay, that works. These are the ways that you can get IT support. We actually use Cubigo. We're trying to make that our main way of communicating. So if you were to call us or email us, what we're actually going to do is go into Cubigo and make a ticket for you. And then if you look in Cubigo and you actually called us for help, there's probably a ticket in there with your name on it where we have started it and said, resident request help with their computer. So I always say, if you keep up with Cubigo, you can actually see if we're asking what we're saying, where we're at with the ticket. IT-support@forestduke.org. We'll go to all three of our emails at the same time. So I would always say, if you can't get a hold of somebody, email IT support and we'll get to you fairly soon, hopefully. This is Scott Brown's desk phone number. This is my desk phone number, and this is Rashad Wilson's desk number. Those are all in the handbook, so if you need them, feel free to call us if you need anything. I'll give you a minute to write those down if you need it. Yes.
I don't know if it's part of IT or not, but there are different ways to communicate with residents.
Yes.
And Cubigo is our main way, but there's also the TVs in this building. They're Town Talk or Our Town or something. And we don't have that in the apartment, so I don't ever know anything about it except that I see things there that I
You mean
don't
the Cubic, the 1390?
guess that's what it is.
That's actually Cubico now, so.
That's Cubigo now?
Mhm.
All right, does that mean that if I go to 1390 on my television, I get Cubigo on my
Well,
television?
you just get the slides that show from Cubico. It's just the slides, the daily slides that they show.
Right, right.
It's just the same. You gotta
This
see
is what you see on the TVs in here in this building.
Yes,
Yeah.
1390,
Oh,
yep.
okay. The TVs and the Cubigo are the same thing now.
Yes.
Okay,
It's not, it used to be, I believe, Touchdown or something.
yeah, that's what it was.
Now it's Cubico, so it's all one. All right, then I think that's it. Is there any questions? Yes.
I love Cubico. Question with information that you put up on your bio,
Mhm.
is that secure within this community or could somebody hack in and get that kind of information for possible identity theft?
We have done extensive research with Cubico and they lock their stuff down basically the same as we, so. The information you put on there should be very secure.
If we don't have let me start again. If you're on Cubigo and there's things that you want to do that don't make sense to you and you think it could be worded differently, who do we talk to about maybe getting that organized better?
That would probably be Emma, who's right over there, or Sarah. They are the admins of.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. All right, folks, next week and the week after, 2 more sessions. Looking forward to having all of you attend, and thank you for your attendance today. Advised that it's hot all day in the back. Yeah.
What if you don't?
Do you need anything? I'm good.
Let's gonna wrap it up here and we'll just back.
Okay.
Yeah, so